Let's move on to the next thing. This is breaking news. This just came out less than an hour ago. Now, you guys know who have watched me for any period of time that aside from Christmas, my absolute favorite day of the year is Oscar Sunday. I love the Oscars. It's not perfect, but I love the Oscars. The culmination and the celebration of the year in film. I love the Oscars. It's a big deal to me. We always do a big thing at our place. I just enjoy the Oscars a lot. I get excited about it. Now, there have been some, it's not a perfect show. So they're always looking to try to improve what they are and what they do. And I respect that. However, the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences put out a statement today talking about a couple of changes that are coming. And I like one or two of them, and one or two of them, one in particular, I'm not so sure I'm thrilled with. The first thing that they announced was that they're going to be making the show, they are going to be committed to keeping that show to 3 hours. It's often gone overtime. They need to tighten that show up. And one of the things they've decided to do, which I thought was really interesting, is I've always said there are some categories at the Oscars that you simply don't need to televise because the vast majority of the audience isn't interested in them. And if you're going to broadcast the show, broadcast it for the audience, like best short documentary. Look, all due respect to the incredible hard work and talent it takes to make those, but the general movie-going audience at home is not all that interested in that category. Keep it a category. I just always thought there were some categories in the Oscars that you could move to another night, like how they do the technical awards. Move it to another night. Still present Oscars to them, and they're Oscar winners. Just don't do it during the broadcast. Well, one of the things that they've announced is that they're going to take some of those categories and award them during the commercial break. So, categories, they haven't said which categories, but I'm going to assume short animated, short documentary, I think all the short categories probably, maybe one or two others, will be awarded during the commercial breaks, and then they'll be highlighted later in the show in a little clip package that'll take like 30 seconds, acknowledging the people who won in those categories. I'll tell you what, I think that's a great idea. That way, you're tightening up the show, you're taking out some of the stuff that a lot of the audience wouldn't be interested in watching, but at the same time, you're still going to acknowledge them during the show in a quick highlight package to acknowledge, hey, so-and-so won Best Short Documentary. It's a win-win. I love the idea. I think that idea is great, and I'm all for it. However, then they proposed another idea, which I got to tell you right now is the stupidest thing I've ever heard come out of the Academy. Absolutely the dumbest thing I have ever heard come out of the Academy. You know what? Let's take a look at the statement that they put out, and we'll start with the stuff that we just talked about. We'll move down into this. Here's one of the things. In a little statement they released highlighting some of the changes that they're looking at. One of the things is, number one, a 3-hour Oscar telecast. We are committed to producing an entertaining show in 3 hours, delivering a more accessible Oscars for our viewers worldwide. To honor all 24 award categories, we will present select categories live in the Dolby Theater during the commercial breaks. Categories to be determined. Like I said, I believe those will probably be the short categories like short live action, short animated, short documentary, whatever. The winning moments will then be edited and aired later in the broadcast. Like I said before, I think it's a great idea. You're still honoring the winners of those categories, but you're, paring down the show, tightening up the show. It's a win-win. Here's the part that I think is going to get more people talking. And it's point number 2. New award category. We will create a new category for outstanding achievement in popular film. Eligibility requirements and other key details will be forthcoming. The Oscars have just announced a nominated. That was a mix between announced and nominated. The Oscars have just nominated. The Oscars have just announced that they are becoming morons. The Oscars have just announced we're throwing away all of our integrity. Hey, you may like some of the decisions they make and not like some of the decisions, but hey, the winners that are announced is always done with integrity. Whether you agreed with the winners or not, blah, 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 blah. They've just announced the Academy Awards are now useless. They're useless. You see, because the Academy Awards are supposed to be recognizing the best in film, regardless of whether everybody saw it in theaters, like a Lord of the Rings Return of the King, or whether it means nobody went to go see it. It didn't have like marketability. Not a lot of people saw it. All that is supposed to be irrelevant. The Oscars are supposed to be about honoring the best. Whether it made $100 million, whether it made $700 million, whether it made $700,000. The Oscars are supposed to be about honoring the best. I got to tell you, maybe, look, like I said, this announcement just came out less than an hour ago. So maybe once I marinate on this a little bit longer, maybe I'll feel differently a little bit tomorrow. Maybe I'll feel differently about this tomorrow once it's marinated with me a little bit longer. Because like I said, I only read this like less than an hour ago. But I will tell you my initial reaction to this is incredibly negative. Because what you're now doing is giving out fake awards. You're giving out fake awards. Hey, Black Panther, you weren't actually good enough to win an Academy Award, so we're going to create a category just for you so we can give you an Oscar. So it's useless. It's the same thing that I've always felt. I don't think Best Animated should be a category. The Academy created the Best Animated category simply so they wouldn't have to deal with the problem. Because you had a stretch where like 7 out of 9 years, the number one critically rated films of the year were animated films, and the vast majority of them weren't getting nominated for Best Picture. So to deal with that issue, they said, let's just create a category for them. It's a participation award. That's what it is. You know, the little kid soccer team, they actually suck and they never won a game, but you get this participation award. That's what Best Animated is. It's a Best Participation Award. That's what this popular films thing is. It's nothing but a participation award. It is nothing but a marketing gimmick. It is nothing but a cheap attempt to get more people to watch the show. It's stupid. Because guess what? Let's say Black Panther, they institute this category for 2020. Let's say it was instituted this year. It's probably not going to be instituted until 2020, but let's say it was instituted this year. Great, you give Black Panther the award, or I don't know, you give a Jurassic World the award, or you give whatever the award. Fine, you give The Incredibles the award, whatever. Everybody will know it's not real. Everybody will know it's not real. Why don't you create a category that says best film that has a supporting actress whose name starts with W? Why don't you do that? That's just as legit. And the winner for Best Picture that has a supporting actress in it whose first name starts with W goes to blah, blah, blah. Yay! It's fake. It's not real. It's not a real Oscar. What you're saying is, this is an award for all those films that couldn't actually compete with the real excellence in movies this year. So here's your participation award. It's idiotic. It's absolutely idiotic. And again, let me temper myself here. Let me emphasize again. I might feel differently tomorrow. Like once I sit on this and think about it for a few hours and whatever, maybe I'll think of a few other points of view and maybe I'll soften on this. Maybe. I reserve the right to feel differently about this tomorrow. Right now, this is idiotic. This is simply the Academy going, please watch our show. Look, I mean, the movies you went out to go see that weren't actually all that great, we'll give them nominations in their own little category. Please watch our show. It's idiotic. This is stupid. And I wouldn't care if I didn't love the Oscars so much. But I love the Oscars. And now you could say, but John, isn't it good to give some recognition to, these other films that maybe don't fit traditionally into these categories? But it's fake recognition. It's fake recognition. There's a reason I get so excited about the progress like a lot of popular films are making because they're getting better and better. There's a reason I made such a big deal out of the fact that Logan got a Best Screenplay nomination. That was huge. And now it means nothing. They're undermining all of that. All that progress that popular genre films have been making, all that progress and legitimacy and all the work that these genre films have done and all the progress that they've made, they're now being made irrelevant because they're being given a booby prize. They're creating a separate little participation award for them. It undermines the legitimate growth and development of popular genre films. It doesn't honor them, it undermines them. Because we now are getting genre films that are getting better and better and better and forcing the Academy to like, oh my God, like one of the major categories is best screenplay. That is one of the pinnacle categories. And they had to give a nomination to Logan. They had to. They know it. And they gave it to Logan. And we see the development and the growth and the progress popular genre films are making. And what has the Academy just done? They've just spit on it and undermined it by saying, we're going to make it a fake category. How's that? You kids go hang out. We're going to give you your own little kiddie table. Isn't that great? You get to go sit over there. I hate this. I think it's bad for genre films. I think it's bad for the Academy. I don't think this is good for anybody. The only thing that this might do is give you a slight bump in ratings of the broadcast, but everybody's going to know that it's meaningless. Anyway, sorry, I get ranting on when it's something I actually care about. And I care about genre films, and I care about the Academy Awards, and I just think this move is horrible for both. Yay, you get a fake award. Yay! You aren't good enough to win one of the real ones, so we'll create a category just for you. Aren't you adorable? I hate this. I really do. I hate this. Now, I don't know. Some of you might be loving the idea. And if you are, that's great. I'm happy you have something to get you excited about the Oscars and all that. That's wonderful. I'm not trying to rain on your parade. But to me, this is absolute horseshit. This is just brutally stupid. But anyway, hey, and I say that as a big fan of the Academy Awards and as obviously, look behind, a big fan of genre films. And I just think this is bad for everybody. But hey, there you go. That's just me.